Alright, so we're at the next part of the upholstery, and I just want to show you before I start to attach all the batting what I've done here. I've cut some pieces and I'm going to show you up close what I've done. This funny shaped piece of really thick batting, this is upholstery weight batting. It's going to add a nice cushion to this curved detail of the chair. And I've cut it to fit the shape. Then I've cut another piece of batting that is larger, still the same thickness, upholstery weight, and I've cut it larger and it's going to wrap around. Now don't worry about this part here, I'll cut it as we go. So I want to show you something here. When you cut off that excess, this was all the excess, well, whichever section it was. Anyway, I can't remember which piece it was, but it kind of cuts it off blunt, which leaves like a sharp edge, especially in this really thick batting. And we really need to get rid of this, otherwise it won't give a nice smooth appearance like I have on the other side. So to get rid of this edge, I angle my scissors like that, and I'm basically just cutting off the corner, that squared off edge, and it will help to smooth out that area nicely without it having a lump. Otherwise it could create a lump, and I'd rather cut it off now than deal with the lump later on when I've got all the pretty fabric on. Alright, so I've trimmed out around the arm and around this pretty curve in the back of the chair. I love all this woodwork, it's going to look so good. But I've neatly trimmed around all of that. The next step is that second layer of batting. This is a thinner layer of batting and I've doubled it. That's going to go around here, and the fabric is going to go around as well. Now I've got to pull pretty tight and get my staple gun underneath there. I'm actually going to turn the chair on its side or upside down to do this next step. So I've got the chair on its side. Hope you can make sense of what you're looking at here. This is the underside of the arm, and I've got this clamp to help hold this piece. I've really got it pulled very, very snug and tight. On the other side, I'm making sure I don't have any wrinkles. And let's see if I can do this in a way I don't cover up the camera. I hope you were able to see this. Let's see here. And I've got it pulled nice and tight. Let's try that again. And okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be stapling. You notice that I started in the middle of the arm. Anytime I've done any upholstery or stapling, I've always started in the middle. Then I work my way out on each section. So this is the arm section. I'm going to, maybe if I come around to the other side and staple that. Upholstering's not for the faint at heart, that's for sure. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to pull it nice and tight and staple underneath. Nice and tight and staple underneath. Then on this side I'll do the same. Watch your fingers. Get that clamp off, and you can see how nicely that... Alright, so for the inside edge here, this is going to be a little trickier. I need to cut away the excess of that thinner layer of batting that I just put on. So I've already done that here in this, along this edge. Now I'm going to cut across here. And remember, we cut into it like this, just to the part where we want it exposed, no farther. And then this fold away part, you can tell how that's kind of folding. That's what we're going to cut away. Be sure not to ruin any of the fabric. I'm going to cut away the excess. Bulk is one of the biggest problems in upholstery because you have to have it. But in the areas where you're stapling and attaching the fabric and all of that, you have to eliminate it. So for the most part, I think I have this pretty narrowed down. I'm just taking the bulk right out of there. If only this could happen to our hips, huh? Okay, I think we're pretty good there. Yeah. So the next part, this is tricky. And I had quite a time with it on the other side, and I'll probably have a bit of a struggle on this side. But we have all this fabric. I don't want it to be a raw edge in here. I want it to be folded so that the raw edge is hidden. Even though this is not the decorative fabric, I like it to be nice and neat no matter what. So I'm going to fold this. I've got it pulled back, you can see. And I'm going to guesstimate about that much needs to be folded. And if I roll it back over, I can see how well I guesstimated. Not too bad. Not too bad. A little bit more down here. So I'm folding that inward and then I'm folding it back over. Yep. Now you see any folds that are down in here, we just want to eliminate that as much as possible. There's a piece of framing right in the crease of each one of these sides, and that's what I'm going to staple that fold to. I've got it just about where I want it. Grab my staple gun and hold that fabric right in there. And I'm stapling to the piece of framing that is inside there. I can feel it with my fingers exactly where it is. It's right in that crease. Now I need to do the same thing about cutting off the excess here, and I'll do the same thing on this front edge as well. Alright, I want to show you again how to eliminate all this extra fabric and batting that we have. So here's the arm of the chair. It comes straight out. We're going to use our scissor, what is that, perpendicular to the edge of the decorative part of the chair, and I'm going to cut and check. Make sure I don't go too deep. I basically want to go just to the inside of the decorative part of the arm. I don't want to cut too far. It's better to cut little bits at a time rather than all of it, because then you can't get it back. I'm going to fold the fabric out of the way, and I'm going to eliminate some of the bulk of this thinner. This is the thinner batting, not the thicker stuff that we already have stuck down. I'm going to get that out of my way, and I'm going to cut along this edge. And this groove here, just on the inside where the staples are going to go, and the decorative tacks or trim, whatever I choose to use, my scissor can actually feel that edge. So as I cut this way, I've got my scissor right in there, and I'm doing just little snips, keeping the edge of that scissor right next to the edge of the groove of the decorative part. And doing that, you can see you can go right around that curve, kind of blind because you can't really see it. You're just kind of using your scissor to find it. And I'm just going to take little snips all the way down. So this might be a little more bulk than I want. I can always go back in and hold my scissor at an angle and take off just a little bit more of that edge. Bulk is the biggest problem, one of the biggest problems with upholstery. You have to have it in order to have the seats cushioned nicely. But where seams meet, or where you're going to have staples going down. Oh, we have a big tractor going by. That's fun. That's what you get for living out in the country. Anyway, I'm going to do the same thing with this fabric after I staple it. I'm going to take this fabric, I'll have something to hold on to, and I'm going to staple just inside that groove.